contractor comrades. Johnny V here. Today, Jay Carter and I are going to be sharing some ideas about how we can better understand what our clients really want. How do we create that irresistible offer? The answer might surprise you. Hope you enjoy. Welcome back, Jay. How you doing today, man?
Not too bad. How are you?
Not too bad, not too bad. I want to touch on a little bit of a story today that happened to me a couple of days ago with one of my workers. Jumped in my truck, and this is all about understanding what your clients really want. And we're going to go over some of the tips a little bit later on.
Okay.
He seemed a little down, actually quite pissed off. I'm like, what happened? He says to me, I just found out that my sister-in-law paid $1,200 to have 3 baby gates installed in her house. I'm like, okay, so what's the problem? He's like, you know what I have to do to make $1,200? Like, we're talking about guys that came in, a few screws here and there, a couple baby gates, in and out, 2 hours, $1,200. That had me thinking. I'm like, I understand why he's pissed off, but what's the why here? And then I'm like, wait a minute, but she didn't pay to have 3 baby gates installed, did she? He's like, well, what do you mean? She paid to have her babies safe.
hmm
It's a totally different offer. And if you really think about it, right? And we get down to the why a customer is motivated to buy, and what are we selling? What's our offer? In this case, the offer was keeping her baby safe. And I think they did a great job of selling that offer. She didn't pay for 3 baby gates.
Okay.
What do you think about that? Like,
So it's what I find astounding is just how many contractors don't actually have an offer, don't understand what an offer is or how to promote it. They go out and they offer their services. All right. And that's almost always a really great way to stay stuck. So let's be clear about what an offer is. An offer is this. It's a specific problem. You solve a specific way for a specific person. Okay. Now, the money's in the being specific. All right. And
right,
you hear a lot about like find your niche and everything. No, no, no. It's actually like how big is the problem and how underserved is it? Right. So the way I look at it is there's always somebody, and if there's one, there's many, that is looking for a specific problem to be solved. All right. Now, the way you go about solving that problem and the type of person you're solving it for is a direct reflection of what you get paid. All right. So let's put this in as an example. All right. So, first of all, when it comes to offer, we want to be as specific about the type of customer we're going to do business with. For
right.
example, I only work for high net worth individuals, doctors, lawyers, engineers. They have a
Mhm.
net worth over 1.5 million. They live in, one to $3 million homes. They drive luxury cars, wear luxury name brand clothing. Their kids often go to private schools. They live in certain communities. They value, luxury brand clothing.
That's
I can
specific.
I know even more than that, but like again, their average age is 45 to 65 now. Like I can say that without a doubt. Now, I don't serve anybody outside of that specific person. The reason why is because my offer is designed for a specific problem they have to
Right.
solve. The specific problem they have to solve is they don't want to replace the roof. They don't want maintenance. They don't want to have to worry about a roof into retirement. This may be their forever home. All right. They don't want a number of other things. Okay. That's the problem I'm solving. I'm solving the problem of peace of mind.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So again, money's not a big deal when we're in that range. And on top of that, we solve it a specific way. We do it their way. We're transparent. We're open. We share all images. We've built a lot of trust with the community by educating them. They're generally very educated people, right? So I speak a different language to them than I would to anybody else in another market.
Yeah.
And again, the better you understand what they value and you actively listen, you shut your mouth and you open your ears and listen to what they tell you specifically. Like, what are their fears? What are their concerns? I'll tell you, the fears of my clients is not getting a great job, not getting what they paid for, all right, having something take too long, all right, having something that doesn't meet the expectations from a color perspective or from a design perspective. These are the type of people that will hire an architect to get their roof installed, right? Like, so again, when we're working with somebody like that, and we do it day in and day out, their needs and wants are very, very different than somebody that could be almost directly across the street in another subdivision, okay, that has a whole other set of problems. Okay, so
Yeah.
maybe middle class. Now, again, in the middle class, their priorities aren't, if this roof is going to last as long, for the rest of their lives. It
Yeah.
may be a part of it, but that's not
More price
that's not their
sensitive.
main concerns, right?
Mhm.
So again, when we get down to designing an offer that fits a specific person, and solves a specific problem for them, we automatically become a higher value to that group of people. Okay. And the cool thing about it is once you learn exactly what to listen for, all right, it's very, very easy to sort of set clear expectations, right? So a lot of times we're leading a sale, we're not pushing a sale, all right? So again, what do clients want? They want to be led. Everybody wants leadership. They want to feel confident in their decision to work with you. And if you're not able to lead them to making that decision, not push them, big difference, all right?
Yeah.
Not try to
Yeah.
use heavy, pressure tactics and stuff like that. My particular group doesn't respond to it well, and sales don't do well under those conditions. So we have to lead them to the answer, and we have to have the solution to the problem that we are, working with them on to solve. And the bigger the problem, the bigger the reward, right? So the more complicated roofs are, the more difficult things are, the better we seem to do, right?
Of course.
So, setting clear expectations is really, it's a lot about being transparent. It's a lot about being open and going there with the intent of solving a very specific problem for them, not making a sale. We remove ourselves from the pressure of making the sale, because the outcome doesn't matter if we can't solve the problem,
That's
right?
right. And you're setting by setting the expectations, you're also building trust.
And we're avoiding surprises.
That's
All
right.
right, we really try to make sure that it's clear to them. We let them make the decision on their own, and we guide them to that decision, right? Like, we're, again, it's a newer form of sales, but ultimately, we want them to sell themselves. All right, now we don't get there unless we ask really good questions
Right.
and we listen even more, right?
Be
So again,
curious.
this is very opposite to the way that most guys are out there pitching their services. And it comes down to this, guys. Like, an offer, properly presented, you don't need to pitch it. You don't
That's
need to
right.
really push it hard at all.
I like
And in
that.
fact, people should feel stupid not going ahead with you if you've done it really well. If you know really what their needs are, and um, what their priorities are, right? What their objectives are, and why they're getting this service, right? So again, a lot of sales I think are lost right there, and not understanding that, hey, a customer doesn't want to be sold to.
No,
They're sick of that.
they want to be
Those
heard.
days, that's right. They want to
Mhm.
be. They want to make sure that you understand exactly w- what they
What their
want and what they
problem is.
need,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
And they want to make sure that you have a high level of competency in solving that problem for them. And that, and again, this is where we come in, using a lot of um, community involvement and things that we've done, and using our brand that we built over 20 years to really reinforce that. Like, there's really nobody else in our space that has as much experience installing the roofs we do. And again, oftentimes we're working off of a referral, or we've worked in the neighborhood, so it makes it a little bit more easier. But again, there's a big difference between a company doing low end residential work and a company doing very high end, residential work. We
Right.
Those two companies are not the same. And what I find most often than not is really this understanding of their offer. Some people will say sales, but sales, again, I feel like that's something that is taught, and you can't teach somebody to sell a shit offer,
Yeah.
right? No
Yeah.
matter what, you can't. The best marketing in the world won't help you to sell a bad offer. All right. And I think if you think about it, most contractors do what? They copy what other guys are doing. This
Low
guy is
hanging
saying
fruit.
quality
Right.
work. I'm going to say quality work. This guy's saying this. I'm going to say that. And what happens is you sound and look like everybody else. And to a consumer that's looking for a very specific um need, right? Or a very specific solution to their problem. If everybody comes in sounding the same, looking the same, they're not confident in any of the decisions they're making. So the alternative is, yeah, we come in, we're a lot higher, all right, but we don't look like everyone else. We don't even come close. And again, we're listening very, very carefully to what they're saying. We're trained in a way of delivering a sales presentation that doesn't involve pitching. There's no pitch,
Not when
right?
you're letting them come to the conclusion on their own with a
That's right.
series of very curious questions and listening
That's
to
right.
exactly what the issue is.
And we also know how to say, I'm sorry, I don't think this is the right fit for us, and walk away. Because not all jobs are the right fit for us. We know there's some people's problems we can't solve, but we go in with only the expectation or only the idea that we're there to solve a problem.
Right.
And again, if the solution we have to that problem isn't a fit, we have the courage to say that, hey, you know what? We're not the right company for you. Maybe you need to call this guy or that guy. And you know what? It's allowed us to scale and grow, contrary to what everybody else believes. And I feel like even in sales, even really high end sales reps, I find have a very hard time adapting to this new economy that we're facing and this new buyer, this new consumer.
Mhm.
And this is where we hear a lot about, oh, I can't compete on price. There's too much competition. Like you can just go down the whole list of excuses. You really can.
We all hear
And
them. Yeah, yeah,
right? I can't get my price. The economy's down. Like
yeah.
I cringe when I hear it. Now, one side of me has the heart and it's like I want to help them change that perspective. The other side of me is like, at what point do you decide like how many tries does it take you to figure out that hey, what I'm doing and what I've been taught might not be right? Because it hasn't worked for a very long
Yeah,
time,
yeah, and that's not
right?
just they haven't suffered enough pain first. And the idea of like quality, price, speed being the three, and you hear this all the time on social
Hmm.
media. Like you can only have one of the two. Like that is just such closed-minded thinking. Like you
Hmm.
said, listen attentively, communicate your expectations. These are important.
Offer a solution, not just service.
That
Right? So, like, again, I just see it over and over again where, like, the company has a decent brand. They've invested heavily in their trucks, their image. They've gone out into the market and, they're putting in their honest best effort. But then they go in and they turn off the consumer and make themselves look like salespeople right away. And I'm telling you, like, nobody wants to be sold. Nobody likes the salesperson. A salesperson in most people's eyes is a very low person on the totem pole. So like when you go in and you start to present yourself and you start to, try to explain why you're the best and like they should go with you, you immediately lose credibility and
you're not
people turn
listening.
off. They shut
Yeah.
down. And you sound like everybody else, right? And again, I use the example all the time of like, hey, I don't think anybody would go into anyone's home and go, "Hey, I'm probably just going to do a mediocre job, semi-par at best. Is that okay with you?" No, of course not, right? Everyone's like, "Oh, I do a great job, quality work." Like, shut up. No one wants to hear it. Like, no one cares,
Nobody
right?
says they do bad
Well,
quality.
it's you would have to assume they do,
Of
right? Like
course.
to a homeowner, like immediately, when you hear it, it sounds salesy. Like, like what? That doesn't come with the package, like. You know what I mean? Like that's the expectation. And I think homeowners nowadays really, they're far more educated. They've done enough research on you before they've invited you to their home because they want to know, like, hey, I'm not just looking to have 10 salespeople come because it's a burden. The whole process is a
Yeah.
burden,
Yeah.
right?
I think
So
even, contrary to that, like, a lot of customers don't actually know what they value without the consolidation of thoughts through a conversation that's built through curiosity,
So
right?
here's the thing. Here's the thing. That may very well be the point. But if you know your customer well enough and you know
Exactly,
that they
yeah.
don't know those things, you can ask questions because if you tell somebody, well, that's up for debate. And you have an intent and you're showing your intent. You want to tell them what they need to know. Well, great. That's sales. Okay. Now, if
Mhm.
they tell themselves through the question you asked and they come up to the conclusion that you are, hoping that they would come to, well, you've done them now. Now it's the truth because it came from their own thoughts. They put that together themselves. And again, you can almost see the relief in their eyes when it starts to click and they understand, hey, you know what? No, I don't want this. I do want that. Don't want this. I do want that. Like, and who helped them get to that conclusion? You did. And
Right.
all you did was ask questions. All you did was skillfully bring them through the journey of buying buying a solution. Not buying a service, buying a solution. Big difference. Right? So again, I challenge everyone out there. It's really comes down to this. We've got to adapt our communication style. We have to evolve if you want to see your company grow exponentially. And the companies that are getting it and the companies that are implementing this stuff, those are the companies everybody points their finger like, how the hell is this guy growing?
Yeah.
How the hell is like again, how are they doing that? Right? A lot about what Contractor AI does is explain how. And no, it's not easy, right? It's not easy. At the end of the day, like I don't want to present myself as saying, "Hey, I've got, a magic pillar or silver bullet." The reality is it takes work. If you improve your sales skills, if you improve your offer, all right, your business will grow. There's
Yeah.
no doubt. Like full stop right there. Like I don't need to go any further. You want your business to grow, you don't need more leads, you don't need all the stuff you think you need, all right? Those are all secondary to learning these things, right? Without a good offer, no marketing, no sales will help you grow. Period. Okay? Get the offer right. How do you get the offer right? As I just explained, right? You got to know
Yeah.
the problems. You got to have the solution, a specific problem, specific person, a specific way,
Yep.
right? What makes you unique in doing all of those things is what helps you to stand out from everybody else that's offering the same services, offering the same thing, using the same 40-year-old script that no one wants to hear, all right? And is turning their customers off of them. And their customers are only picking them because everybody else sucks. That's how low the bar is, right?
That's
It's
that's
really
funny.
that's what it comes down to. Like I we've surveyed customers to find out what made their decision. And again, over and over and over again, we get back the same responses. Now, I get the privilege of helping other businesses grow, and I've surveyed their customers, and I hear the same things over and over. They
You
didn't
see the
they
similarities,
didn't know,
right?
like
Yeah.
again, it felt like I was being sold. Like all these things are real things. Like, and again, when we get down to the way human beings make a decision, all right, human beings make emotional buying decisions and they justify with logic.
Yeah.
Okay.
When it's a customer's idea to make the deal, you close the deal.
Right. So once again, it all comes back down to this, right? So like, do you have to be empathetic? Like a crazy word to use, and absolutely, right? Understanding your client's stress, understanding what turns them off in a buying situation, what makes them scared in a buying situation, what causes them to put their guard up and shut down on you. That's really the art of improving your sales skills, right?
Right.
When you learn not to trigger sales resistance, when you learn not to bring push somebody into a situation where they need to think about it, or they need to talk to their wife, their spouse, they got to get more quotes. If you can learn to time those things, and you can learn to help your customer go through the entire process and make these decisions on their own, you'll never get one of those answers again. When you get those answers, I'm telling you that you've done something wrong in the sales process with them. Now, it can be any number of things, but there's been sales resistance triggered, and they're in a defense mode. All right, they're not open to you.
Hmm.
They're not trusting you. All right, they're giving you every reason, money objections, you name it. I can all route them back to these. Well, let's go through the conversation. How did it start? And it's the guys that came in and pitched the whole time. Well, why wouldn't they want my service? Did What did they say? Oh, well, they didn't say very much. Hmm. Well, do you think
Interesting.
interesting, right? So maybe you should ditch the pitch. Maybe you should get rid of
Yeah.
it.
Stop
Try
doing
that,
the talking.
right?
Absolutely. Yeah. Start
So
doing the listening and get to the why.
again, it's sometimes easier said than done. If you are struggling with these things, of course we're here to help. We want to teach you a method that doesn't feel like, because it's stressful for the salesperson too. Like, I'll be honest with you, like I talk to so many guys, so many contractors, they tell me right up front, "I hate sales." I'm like, "Oh, that's interesting. And why is that?" I don't, I'm not outgoing. They give me all the excuses, right? I like they feel like, and I think society's really created this image of it that like you have to be this smooth talking, slick back hair, like guy that's just has all the right things to say at the right time, and to the point, like it's a quality, it helps for sure, but that's not what actually closes sales. And I believe me, I have people closing astronomical numbers that people don't even believe me about. All right. And it always comes down to the same thing, like how were they taught, how good is the offer, all right, and what is the method for moving your client from no to a yes, right? What's the process? What are the skills that we've learned? How are we improving continuously, right? And are we just pitching services, right? Or do we have a real solution that we believe in for a very specific